We're ready, Clemente? And now reconvene from from closed session at 6:49. There is one item to report out. On a vote of 4-0 with Trustee Garcia abstaining, the board ruled on a labor matter and will be issued in accordance with the contract. Thank you. Okay. Now moving on to item 5, public comment concerning items on the open session agenda and or non-agenda items. Guidelines, there will be a 2-minute limit for individuals and a 20-minute limit on total public comments. There is no ceding of one's time to other individuals. Individuals wishing to address the Board of Trustees on open session agenda items and or other items may do so at this time. Starting time, 6:50. And I have some green sheets that I'm going to be going in order as received. The first, Mr. Guerra, I believe. Okay. Mr. Avasi, can you please keep track of time? Oh, thank you.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Mercado, Mr. Abassi, Ms. Anzo, Mr. Jimenez, Ms. Garcia, Mr. Ocampo, and Mr. Duran, Secretary, anybody else here? Thank you, guys, Mr. Cohen. I'm calling again on the Montebella situation that we have with the Monterey Soccer League. We've had a meeting with Mr. Abassi and this gentleman, Mr. Rojas, to help him better take care of the park and also take pick up his trash, his beer bottles that leave behind, things like that. The real concern we're having now is the concern of the bathrooms. There's 2 bathrooms in Montebella Park, one male, one female on each side. One is gonna face, I believe, Montebella Boulevard. The other one is gonna be on Padova. The problem we're having is there's 200 to 300 people there on the weekend, and the Saturday is okay. That one's done through the school through the front. We don't have a problem with that one. The problem we have is the one on Sunday, where Mr. Rojas refuses to provide portables. And from what we understood through an email we got with Ms. Lindquist, that it was addressed to him and that he would consider it. I believe it's a disrespect to us in our park and our community that he has not come forward and done it, but he still utilizes the event through the park. We've recommended also to Mr. Abassi to please have him do it through the school. And he says, well, it would cost more money. We understand that. But like I told Mr. Abassi, that's not our issue. That's an issue that Mr. Rojas has to address and pay for if he needs to. And he needs to have that school open and the bathrooms open to that many people that are going to be attending that function. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Malcolm Mejia.
Yeah, I'm here representing Montebella as a homeowner. We have been meeting with the district and with the city for months now. And again, the concern with the porta potties is one thing. The thing that we would like to articulate is the fact that we're fully supportive of the school district. Financially, through taxes, and through everything that we want to do. Many people have a perception that our community is a community that doesn't want people coming in, but we do want people to come in. We want children to come and get educated, but we also want the people that utilize the park and the neighborhood to be respectful. We also have some concerns about the keys, who has keys to the school, and whether or not, those people legally should have access. We believe that there's people that have keys and are accessing the gates, and they are private citizens that should not have access to the school. And we will be here again if the problem isn't resolved, just as we are at the city council meetings. We appreciate your time, but this thing theoretically is resolvable. And our neighborhood can be supported in a way that demonstrates your value for the support and the money that we provide the school district. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Antonio Ravago.
Rábago.
My apologies.
It's okay. We're all family. Good afternoon. Following up on the situation, we've been very patient. We met with Mr. Abbasi, and I have here a copy of the email that Christian and Mr. Pia sent me, where they give us the information. They met with you, and you guys came to an agreement that this was back in February 29th, in your meeting, and it was a consensus that he was going to get the porta potties. And as of last week, we had over 300 people, and we had lines in the bathrooms, and we had 5 vendors, and it's a little out of control. So we are asking for you to implement the rule that he follows of the the porta potties, and that's the issue, because the crowd is too big for the small part. They continue to open the side door. Who has the key? Everybody gives us a different story, but there's coaches and a lot of people that have a copy of the key, which we want to know if that's legal, and that's what we're asking for. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Mrs. Blanca Miranda?
Good afternoon, board. Mr. Abbasi, Ms. Ansel, Mr. Koenig, and all of you, okay? Otherwise, I'm gonna spend my 2 minutes. And members of the community. So as a parent, I would like to say that we would like to have supervisors properly trained, because they are the ones taking care of our children during their free time. We also would like to have the supervisors have better benefits, so we don't have that much like a turnover for them. And at least to be certified, CPR certified, and for them to know how to deal with difficult situations. Mental health care in a way, to properly address it, and instead of being like the moms or the copy moms in the school, but to be properly prepared. We send information to Mr. Koenig. We would like to be part of the process when we hire directors, head directors in the district. I'm not trying to ask for us to do your job, but as a community, as a parent, I would like to know who are we bringing, instead of having like, do they have the proper credentials? What do I know? But we would like to know that we bring a person who is gonna be serving properly our children, and instead of having an appointee, which we have seen in the past, and many times is not the best choice. And I'm sorry, like I'm normally not the person who is gonna be giving names, but I can give them in private. I also would like to commend or say like, thank you so very much to Miss Alvarez. She is great. DLAC is a different story, and you guys can see it, parents can see it, from when she wasn't here to now that she is. And all this is dedicated to her hard work, her personal put in the time. This lady is calling people on Sundays, Saturdays, from her personal phone. I don't know if it's the district phone or personal phone, but she's calling us to remind us that we have a meeting. That means a lot to me. She cares. And she's making sure that we are very well aware, notified and aware that we have a meeting and what's going to be addressed. Please, I don't know, as a parent, I cannot say like, give her a raise, but I'll say, yes, give her a raise, right, or something. But this woman deserves a lot. She deserves a huge thank you from you guys, whatever needs to be done or taken or happen, but that's what I would like to do for her. Also, for the custodians, all the schools, and we've seen like the remapping and everything. For the schools, we have different children, like different capacity of children or different amount of children per schools. I don't think the custodians should be based on like this school gets 3 and all the schools get 3. Because when you have a home, if you have 2 tenants in your house, it's not the same time to clean the house than when you have a dozen of children. So in Montebella, we have a lot of children. I think we need more custodians, so we can, so these people are not overworked. Also, I would like to ask for all open positions in the district to be posted district-wide, because I seen and I hear, not only hear, but I seen that some positions are not posted as they come available because they are waiting for friends or family members to apply and then they open them. That is absolute. I also can give names, but in private. Finishing with this, I'm gonna have a meeting with Mr. Koenig. He doesn't know yet. Nobody knows, but he doesn't know that date yet. But we haven't come out with a date. I'm inviting you all board to be part of it because I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. You can also come. The lawyer can also come. You can defend them. That's okay. I won't bring a lawyer. I can defend myself. But anyway, so what I wanted to say is also thank you. Thank you for everything that is happening for the after school program. And when I say, when we say the school needs to, or the district can do better, yes. I know you didn't put that timer because I can tell. Anyway, so the district can do better. Yes, we have room for improvement. But in my world, it will be like, if you get a full paycheck, you're expected to do a full work. If we do half work, I don't think next week or whenever you get paid is like, here's your half paycheck. I will give you the rest whenever you get better in 10 years. This is what I wanted to say. Thank you very much for your time. And I'll keep you posted when we have the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Koenig, for your opening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miranda. And our last green sheet here will be la señora Lorena Mendoza.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, Mr. Koning and Alice Hall, the district staff. At this time, as you probably too are hungry and I should be eating with a meal with my little ones right now, but here we are. So some weeks ago, I sent out some emails, and until this day, we have not received yet a response. So we are concerned parents, and that we believe that it is important that we keep it an honest, clear communication so that we can advance and but we cannot, well, yes, sorry, we can advance, but we cannot do that if we're not communicating. So if we don't receive a prompt response, right, we cannot move forward. So we are working parents, and some of us make time to take care of our families and home. So if you could please take your time and be considerate and respectful of our time, because at times, we also take vacation to, like in my case, we have to take vacation time off just to even respond to an email, create an email, and make a phone call, visit the district, the school, etc. So if you could please respectfully respond to the email, and we understand that staff are busy, that you guys have busy schedules, but you guys get paid and you guys are able to respond during your pay hours. So it only takes you a few minutes, so please respond. And a simple, respond like, oh, thank you, we received your email, and we'll be reviewing it and gathering more information, and we'll follow up accordingly. But instead, we just hear silence. So please, as you know, parents, as you know, parent involvement is very important, and we want to have effective participation, which allows us to grow. Well, thank you so much for the time. Okay, and I'll just follow up with another email.
I end this at 7:03. Okay, moving on to association, NSLC Teachers Association. Thank you. Moving on to California School Employees Association, Chapter 577. Thank you. The United Substitute Teachers Union. Thank you. Moving on to item 6, presentations. We have a department presentation by Ms. Monica Ansel.
Good afternoon, Board President Mercado, Superintendent Koenig, Board of Trustees, and Cabinet community members. My name is Monica Anso, and I'm here to update you on our district benchmark results for the second trimester. Oh, here we go. Mm-mm. Okay, next. So as one of the state initiatives is to ensure that our students are reading at grade level by third grade. And so the district has taken on that challenge, and I will be giving you some updates on how we're doing with reading. So for our third through sixth graders, the measure we use are Lexile, so that measures the ability of a student or the student's ability to read through complex text. Next. So you will have, I'll show you the highest score is highlighted in green, and then the greatest change is highlighted in that orange goldenrod you see there. Here is just a table of where students should be at third through sixth grade. So after the grade level, you see the Lexile column. That's where the range where we expect students to be at the end of the school year. So for third grade, as you can see here, our goal is to be at the lowest end of the range at a 520 by the end of the school year. And we have Creekside that's the closest to that at a 390 average. And then we have Barden that did the greatest growth, and Sanchez did as well. So yes, we still have a lot of room for growth at the third grade level. In fourth grade, we can see that our end of the range is, or the beginning of the range is 740 to 940. And our average, our highest average and greatest growth was at Steinbeck, so 715. They're the ones that are the closest. We have Ava there at 1260. We have less students there, so the average can be a little different. But again, there's some room for growth in fourth grade. In fifth grade, the range starts with an 830 and ends with a 1010. We can see there with the school with the highest score is at 825, so they're almost there at the 830. And then we have MLK that has the greatest gain in their score. Sixth grade, the end of the beginning of the range is 925, the end is 1070. We can see that Montebella is surpassed that at the beginning of the range at an average of 1090. And then we have Ava with the greatest gain at an 820. Okay. So that was the English Lexile scores. We do have students that are in predominantly Spanish instruction. So we also ensure that we have a score for them in the same measure of Lexiles. So you see only a few sites because we don't have a one-way or DI throughout the district. It's only at these sites here. There's a few that do not have it. But at Barden, in our Spanish reading, the Lexile score there is at a 320, and the beginning of the range is a 540. So they're the ones with the highest score, and then the greatest gain is at Sanchez 275. So our Spanish reading also, we have some room for growth. And then this is fourth grade, and Sanchez is the one at 6:30, and I don't have the. So the range the beginning range for fourth grade is a 740. So we see there's Sanchez with the greatest gain at a 630, and they're probably the closest to that average score as well. Fifth grade, we see the highest score there is a 580. Our range should be at an 830. So the 580 is the highest score, and then we have the greatest gains at Loya and VRB. And then sixth grade, the range should be a 925 to a 1070, and we see that MLK is the one with the greatest gain or the greatest growth there at 505. So again, some room for growth also in our upper grades for Spanish reading. The next is the STAR Math. We use a quantile score, which means this score tells you where the student is, what they've mastered, where they need to go, and where we want them to be. Okay. There we go. At the beginning of the year, there's an expectation for the quantile, and then our goal is to be at the end of the year expectation 490 for third grade, 680 for fourth, 810 for fifth, and 890 for sixth grade. So we have our third grade STAR Math, and we see that our greatest or our highest score is at VRB with a 260, and at the end of the school year, they should be at a 490. We have the greatest gain of even though it's a negative 80, but when we started the baseline with AVA, they were at a negative 125. Okay. Then this is fourth grade. The highest score there is a 570, so 680 is the target. They're at a 575 at AVA, and then the greatest gain is Frank Paul at a 340. Trimester 2 for fifth grade, their score should be closer to the 810. And then Montebella is with the highest score at a 630, and Loya at a 545 with the greatest gain. 890 is the goal for sixth grade math. We see Montebella surpass that already at a average of a 965, and then Chavez is 640. So the next one is our reading for our DRA, which is a developmental reading assessment, and this assessment is done one-to-one. So the teacher sits with each individual student to assess their reading, not just listening to the student read, but also checking for the reading behaviors. It's broken down by trimester. At our second trimester in kinder, students should be at the goal of a 3, level 3 in the DRA, first grade at a level 12, and then second grade at a level 24. So this is kindergarten. Kindergarten, we do not have a baseline for kindergarten as they come in. They come in as non-readers, and we're getting them to read, to break code. So you see it here at first trimester, and then compared to the second trimester, we have 4 schools, Chavez, Creekside, Steinbeck, and VRB that have met the goal for the second trimester at a level 3. And the rest of our schools are right behind them at a level 2. So we're hoping to see them all reach a level 4 or above. This is first grade DRA, again, reading in English. The goal there is a 12. We have 2 schools that are that were close to the second trimester goal, Barden and Loya. And as you can see, the rest have some room to grow as our third trimester goal is at a level 16. Second grade, our second trimester goal was at a 24. They should be at a level 28 at the end of the school year. We have Montebella with the highest score at 20, and then the most growth, 17 at Creekside. So it's just like we do for the Lexile STAR in English, we also do it for the DRA, which is the EDL, Evaluación de Lectura. o desarrollo de lectura. And we have our trimester 2 goal again for kinder. Frank Paul and Loya have met that goal, and the rest are right behind. And we'll look at Sanchez and VRB. There's some room there, and we need to work with them. First grade at EDL, I think Frank Paul, again, is the highest score. They're at a 13. Their goal should be at a 12, I believe, for a second trimester. And then VRB, the greatest gain at a 9. And then this is second grade. The goal is a 24. We see Barden is almost there. They have an average of 21. And then Chavez at 16 and Loya at 20 with the greatest growth. So then we have the other assessment we administer with our kindergartners is a Wonders Phonics. They're being taught the phonics and the sounds, and so we want to make sure that they have these skills in order to break code and be fluent readers. We can move on to the. So this is just the trimesters, the goals by trimester. Again, the letter sounds, short words. So CBC words are like cat, mat, and then they get harder. They need to master in kindergarten silent E. So those are a little hard, the harder words. And as you can see, the same thing is broken down in Spanish. So this is a word, Wonders Phonics in English. The second trimester there for our kindergartners, the goal was to reach a score of 66, and we see Steinbeck and VRB have the greatest gain and also the greatest score. So we have some room for some growth, but we have to be at an 80 at the end. So we see that the students are growing. And then this is the Spanish version of the Wonders Phonics. This is Maravillas. And again, we see their second trimesters is 72, and the highest score is a 78 at Frank Paul. So we can see that some of those scores actually, you can compare them to the DRA or the EDL and in the phonics in kindergarten, and that's why a lot of our kindergartners have reached that level 3, is they're getting those skills. So then this here is our district writing assessments. We can see the max score is a 20, and we see our highest score there is at 8 at Barden, at Loya, and at Steinbeck. And that's in second grade. And in first grade, it's Barden, 7, and MLK, 7. Those are our highest scores. And then kinder, their max is a 16. Fremont in Sanchez and VRB at our 6. So again, some room for growth, but as we see there is a max score at the end, and that's where we want them to be at the end of the school year. And this is the informational writing for our first trimester. And you can see the scores have changed, so we don't do the same genres. The first genre was the narrative. This one's an informational. And we can see again by kinder, same rubric, 16. We have Sanchez and Steinbeck at 9s, Loya at an 11, and VRB in first grade. Our max is at 20, and then in second grade, also max is at 20 on the rubric, and we have Sanchez and Steinbeck at 12s. And then this is an opinion writing, which we have the scores for at kinder again, same rubric, different genre. With opinion writing, Sanchez and Steinbeck are 11. Loya in first grade is at a 14. And in second grade, Loya, Sanchez, and Steinbeck are at 13. So the upper grades, it changes a little. It's a little different because we use the FIIBs, which is it changes because this is what we compare to the SBAT. And this was our baseline at the beginning of the school year. The next slide, Mr. Villarreal. This is trimester 1. The next slide. And now this is trimester 2. This, as you can see, the topics change. So this is opinion and argumentation. And the average of students taking it, we have Loya at a 72% meeting standard. At fourth grade, we have Sanchez at 67. And then in fifth grade, Loya and Steinbach is 62. And then in sixth grade, we have Montebella also at almost at 93, above or near standard. So that was the second trimester assessment results. One of the things that we want to bring to your attention is next year, there will be some changes on how we process or how we do assessment. We are going to be moving over to from STAR into iReady. And iReady will provide the following information, just like STAR. They'll have a diagnostic assessment and ELA and math. And I think one of the questions that we are always, when we're presenting to the board, are asking is how does this compare to SBAC? So moving over to iReady will give us more of an alignment to SBAC. We can quickly go back to the other one, Mr. Villarreal. So the assessments in STAR are criterion reference. So what does that mean is the students are compared to other students that are taking the STAR assessment. The iReady is, sorry, I should say it backwards. The STAR assessment is norm reference, so compared to other students. The assessment in iReady is criterion reference, so it's compared to the mastery of standards. And the SBAC is also criterion reference, which is the mastery of standards. So this is our goal is to align the assessments the students are taking to how they are assessed on SBAC. And we'll continue with some of our signature practices in order to keep these our students and building those conditions for our student teaching and learning and making sure our students are achieving. So we still will continue with our instruction leadership teams, our PLC time. We have some improvement to do with our MTSS and RTI process. There's coaching and support in all the areas, and then we'll keep aligning to our English learner roadmap policy, so that our students are making the gains that they are. Questions?
Mr. Ocampo?
No questions, just a comment. Yeah, the idea of the iReady aligning us with the specific criterion for mastery, I think is a step in the right direction, I think, right? Because, we have to figure out what are the young people not understanding, right?
Yes.
And then I guess focus on that and try to help them understand so they can do better on the SBAC and so on. Could you explain again the different what norm standards refer to?
So norm reference is when I take the assessment, my results, I'm compared to other students. When it's criterion reference, I'm compared to my own growth against the standard. So my mastery of the standard. The SBAC is criterion based, which I'm being compared to the mastery of the standard, to the growth that I have.
Thank you.
Mr. Kim? Mr. Jimenez? No questions? Okay. Mrs. Garcia?
Thank you. I do have questions. I know you're going to give me answers, so that's a great thing. So thank you for this great report. I really do appreciate the time you took to put this all together and make it comprehensible for us. Thank you so much for that. I do kind of notice that, and maybe I've got it wrong, but it looks like our students are doing so much better in language arts than they are in math. And is there like, I'm assuming, that I am a teacher, but I'm assuming that it's because the math STAR has a lot of reading in it. But I mean, what do you think our reasoning for that is? It's usually, when you have a lot of English learners, they're doing way better in the math. And so I'm noticing that with the information we have in front of us, our students are doing a lot better. Did I read that right? It seems like they're doing a lot better
There's a
in
lot more
reading
growth.
than they are in math.
So I mean, it's a very loaded question, and I have very complex answer for that, right? I think when we're looking at what our students are, or the focus that we have, as I opened up, is we're really focused on the reading and ensuring that the reading is happening. So that might be reflected on what we see, the growth that we see in reading. That's one. The other part is we also have a hard time reading those scores. So just like why we want to move over to iReady, then the teachers and the staff can be more targeted on understanding the score and what it is really telling us, right? So here, if you ask a teacher, we're using the, I can't even remember them, the quantiles for math.
Sure.
You ask a teacher what that means, and it's really hard. You ask me what it means, and it's really hard for me to explain on what it is. So it's really, again, norm reference, right? This is where you are, your average score compared to other students. So what we want to do is be more targeted so that we can address that issue and that the growth is visible in both areas.
Okay, very good. And then like, for instance, so when the teachers are scoring the writing, are they doing it collaboratively? Are they, are they calibrating scores with other teachers, or did each teacher just give the test and then they score it themselves?
So most of them, because it does take some time, a lot of the principals that time during the staff meetings to give them time to score their reading in collaborative format.
So they are
with
doing it,
each other,
calibrating
yes.
maybe their scores, because that's so, well, in my opinion, right? May I have a biased opinion, but usually that's like a great way to come
Yes.
together as teachers to calibrate the scores, because my one might look different than your one, and we could kind of hash it out what a one is.
Yes.
But yeah, so thank you for that. And then lastly, okay, so we're moving on to STAR, and I think it's time, right? Because I think we're seeing that when we get the scores in for STAR, and then we get the SBAC scores or the CASP scores, they don't seem to align very well. I mean,
Yes.
we think we're doing really well, and then we get the scores at the end, and it seems like not so well.
Yes.
But so how is this going to affect AR? Because most teachers, and I did my thesis project, my master's project on accelerated reader, and this was 25 years ago. And so most teachers who use AR use the STAR score to, level the students in their classrooms, and the libraries are all leveled using AR STAR scores. I mean, so how is that are we gonna get rid of accelerated readers? I hope that's not the case, but can you
So
answer that?
we're not going to get rid of accelerated reader, right? So
Okay.
it's a tool that has been part of the practice, and it's for independent reading at the students level. So
Sure.
it's a way to keep students motivated to read. So, but it's not a required, like it's not part of an assessment calendar, let's say. It's not a requirement that the district has for each student to do AR.
Sure.
Schools, the principals have taken on the AR. They have trophies, the word count, points, right? So they have their own little AR programs going,
Mhm.
and we don't want to take that away. So that's going to still continue. But because it also has been a program that we've been using in our district for many, many years, 20 plus years, we understand that our teachers are using STAR reading in order to give a student a level, a ZPD. We also know that our libraries are also all labeled ZPD. So for us to completely take STAR reading away, that will disturb the system, and we don't want to do that. We already have enough change with going over to iReady. So we're going to keep the STAR reading, but it's going to be aligned to AR. It's not going to be a requirement on the assessment calendar.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanso. We're moving on to our next presentation, the department presentation, Mr. Posey.
Good evening, President Mercado, board members, cabinet members. Thanks for the time to share with you what's going on in the Human Resource Department, and I appreciate the time. Am I using this, or I'm just going to say next and you'll do it? Okay. That works. So the Human Resource Department, it's our busy time of year, obviously. We're into the hiring, recruitment piece of our duties. I do like to point out, more often than not, HR is the first face that a person sees when they come into the district, either through the recruitment process or even if you walk into our lobby, it's our secretary that greets you at the front desk. And we take that honor and that job very seriously, that we want to represent the school district with the greatness that it is. So I do want to start by thanking the HR team. It truly is an incredible team with Sarai Moises, Maria, and George Lopez. They work incredibly for the purpose. In the recruitment and retention area, some things I want to point out. We had our own recruitment fair back in February, well before kind of the recruitment season started. We did that so we could get the jump on the talent that was available. We were able to, we anticipated we'd need about 10 teachers at that time. We were able to hire 10 teachers at that event, which was a really good thing to meet that goal. In total, so far, we've been to 3 events, and we've hired 15 teachers, additionally 4 experienced reading specialists, 3 speech language pathologists. So we've been successful at the events. We've also have a partnership with iBridge, which is a Philippine recruitment organization, and we've able to hire 4 special ed teachers for next year, moderate severe, so they'll be in the special day classes. So we're getting a head start on that. Right now, we have a total of 17 openings still in the district, and the good news is that because of our efforts to take care of the few displacements we had with classes collapsing because of enrollment next year, and we had meetings and got all that taken care of, and our employees placed where they're going to go, we're now able to go outside and start hiring those positions, and which is a little bit earlier than maybe traditional. So we'll start hitting the more recruitment fairs. Of course, we post on EdJoin, and we're starting to see the applications come in. So to use a metaphor, we're fishing in the pond when the pond's full, and that's a good thing. Last year, we had 38 employees on probationary 0 credentials, which are permits, waivers. That's when you recall you passed needs for highly qualified teachers resolution allows us to hire on that. Those employees take some little more attention. We have to monitor their progress to get their credentials and what have you, and that's something the HR department does in the retention program. And so just kind of want to point that out is we were able to assist many of them into getting their credentials, and then some just realized that maybe they didn't want to teach, and so we had to backfill them as well. We are looking to partnership with a California Department of Education exchange visitor program beginning in January of 25, which will allow us to recruit out of Mexico as well. So we are looking into doing that. That's through Professional Learning Innovation Office. So the next big project that we worked on this year was a human resource manual, which was a really important piece to put together. This is a procedures manual that allows us to take what happens in board policy, ed code, contract language, just the LSL way, how we do things, and put it into a standard operating procedure manual. And it was been a while since it's been updated in the district. I think that's a fair statement to say. And what that does is it allows us to have a standard operating procedure. So if should we ever be accused of a discriminatory practice, we can point to this manual and say, no, this is the way our standard operating procedures are, and this is how we did it in this case as well. It also makes it so if you call somebody in the office and ask a question, you're going to get the same answer no matter who picks up the phone. And that's always a nice thing that we understand each other and how we work. That's the functional side of this piece. The bigger picture too is, as you know, periodically you pass board policies, and when you have a manual as such, this allows HR the day after you pass a board policy to look at it and say, okay, how does this affect how we do business? And so what you do on a Wednesday evening, we can then train and put into practice on a Thursday morning and update the policies and practices and how that works. So that's the HR manual and how that works. Another one of our functions that we have been working on is employee relations. We have employee relations committees. we have great communication with our labor partners. We look to hear issues before they become grievances and work on them to keep grievances from happening. And we're not 100% successful, but we do a lot of labor relations and hearing what's going on and how can we make it better before it escalates to formality. I always say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and this would be one of the cases that we spend our energies doing that. We help out with professional development. Today we had a leadership training where we were talking about how to do effective evaluations or some changes we can make to make the evaluations more effective. It's the first of a series of trainings we'll do with the leadership. We also participate in the district in services and professional development. I do want to take a moment to point out, it kind of goes back a few slides, but how vital the professional development we do in LaSalle is to recruitment. It was game changing when I can go up to a new teacher and challenge them to ask every other district at the recruitment fair how that district is going to support the new teacher. And they're going to say induction program, which we do too. But when we can talk about those professional development days that LaSalle does, the Golden Bell that we won as a district, when we can talk specifically about how new teachers get support in this district, and they're not just, here's the keys, here's the books, there's the classroom, have fun. That doesn't work. We have a very, Sam does a great job with the education department putting together our professional development that I can point to something tangible as a benefit as to why you want to choose LaSalle. And I can tell you, at the Monterey Bay, CSU Monterey Bay recruitment fair, we were one of the last that they'd seen. They would come because of where our table was. When they got to us, and I would say, what did the other districts talk to you about when they talked about new teacher support? And they're just like, not that. And I've had teachers come to us and say, from other districts, and say, my master teacher said, look to LaSalle, they'll really support you as a new teacher. So I want to just really applaud the district and the board for having the vision to making that such a priority, because it is certainly a benefit that we use in recruitment. And I believe it keeps our retention as well. We also are public complaint managers. It's our phone that rings when there's a concern. I don't like to say complaint as much as I like to say concern, because we like to keep it from getting to a formality. We average maybe 3 contacts a week, and our goal is quick, not like because we want to rush it, but we want to make sure we respond to the messages quickly and make sure that the concerns addressed in a manner that people know we listen. That often shapes the opinion of the district, and we take that role very seriously. Once a month, we meet with our other HR departments throughout the Tri-County area at the Monterey County Office of Education. Lozano Smith usually presents, and it's always amazing. It's usually a 2-hour presentation that feels like it's like 20 minutes because it's chock full of information that we're all writing and scribing quickly. And that's one of the things we come back and then look at our HR manual and say, okay, are we doing what they're telling us to do? And it's a way we can then train our leaders if we need to adjust our practice based on the latest case law or statutes as they come down. We also participate in County Listserv, which is a email group that seems to be getting more active lately. When someone has a question countywide, we can often learn from other people, and that's how we stay current on the trends. The interactive process is one of our duties as well. This is when an employee may have a temporary or permanent disability and needs accommodations for that. We meet with them. We often have to have a communication with the doctor, and we kind of figure out if we can make those reasonable accommodations and make sure that we're compliant with the ADA Act. Those probably happen about once every 2 weeks, probably more than you might realize that we go through this. Most of them are temporary. You get doctor's notes saying they can't, lift 50 pounds or something, and we figure out the accommodation. But I list those things on here as just, besides the main piece you see, there's these other functions that certainly do keep us busy. And that is the HR report. Do you have any questions I can answer?
Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Jimenez. Mrs. Garcia?
Thank you for your presentation. Yeah, no, I see. Yeah, I do have like districts that compare because I work for another district. I do understand and I do see the difference in the amount of support that is given to that new teacher. So yes, I agree with you 100%. I really think LSL's doing an awesome job with that. Um, and I see that you put under professional development for the LSL leadership trainings. That is for the admin people, employees.
Yeah, so today was our first one. It was on effective evaluations and it was with the principals, voluntary. And then they asked actually to continue maybe in a couple weeks to another one on goal setting. And so it's something we're starting. It's a new program we're doing.
Oh, yes, and so along those lines, is there anything in like a principal handbook of any kind? And then the reason I say is it just you're brand new principal. Sometimes you just don't know don't know like specific things like what's going on in August. What should I be looking for August, September, like ELACs, school site council, elections, Williams inspections. I mean, there's so much that goes into a site administrator job that it's hard to keep up when you're brand new. So is there like any kind of a principal handbook in the works that maybe
So
somebody
this,
could develop?
yeah, this handbook goes to all the administrators. And so it would be their role in HR because it is HR focused.
Okay.
But to your point, it's also a living document, which I really didn't explain, that as things pop up, we're going to add to it and do training on it. So we do have a calendar in there for administrators as these things are due each month. I think that's in chapter 2 of the document, to kind of let them know when you plan your month, you can look at it and say, okay, this is what I have to do this month. And maybe for a new administrator, if you look at one and go, I have no idea what that is, you can call and we can get you the assistance. But yeah, the ultimate goal would be to have these handbooks in every department for everything like that. Because what you're describing is absolutely right. You don't know what you don't know, right? And
Right.
so that's kind of what this is to help out. If they aren't not sure of the hiring process, there's a whole chapter on the hiring process, and they can go through and see what the standard operating procedures are and how that works.
Well, thank you. And one more thing, I guess classified, they, professional development, I'm assuming they go to trainings as well.
We have 1 day for classified. 1 day for classified, yeah. We do, and depending on the job description and the number of days of service, their calendar adjusts to that. But I did do food services and the secretaries a customer service training on effective customer service. So I've done that earlier this year.
And let's just say, one of the crucial jobs on campus is campus supervisor. And like, if you just hire somebody, like, let's just say you hire somebody in December, who kind of trains them, or is it just left to every site?
I could look into that and get back to you. I don't have that readily available, that answer.
Okay, thank you for that. This was good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ocampo, any questions or comments?
Yeah, well, first, I just want to thank you for spending some time with us, Mr. Posey, and being the interim director, filling in when we need someone to help us out. I was curious, I don't know if I heard right. Did you say that we were looking at possibly bringing teachers in from Mexico? Did I hear that, or?
We're working with a organization that would allow, that we could recruit teachers out of Mexico.
What's the name of that organization?
Professional Learning Innovation Office, and it's Career Studies Incorporated.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Career Studies Incorporated.
Oh, Career Studies
Yeah.
Incorporated. Okay, so they would be like a middle person maybe that would help us bring in teachers from Mexico.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is wonderful. I've long wondered why. I know there was a time years ago when districts would bring in teachers from Mexico, and that sort of seemed to stop. And so I'm glad to see that we're looking into that. Do you think that will happen, or do you think that will pan out, or?
We're targeting January 2025 is when that would start. I don't see any reason that would stop it from happening.
Okay, would it be kind of similar with what we do with the Filipino program? We bring him in?
That's our hope. That's real similar to that. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
That's our hope, that it's really similar to
okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I think that's exciting. I've always thought that it'd be great if we could start bringing in teachers from Mexico, you know, that would be fantastic. And obviously we're bringing them in because there's a shortage. I mean, we're not displacing teachers. I mean, we can't find them here, so we go to the countries, but
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Right now, the
right.
state has a teacher shortage right now,
Yeah,
certainly.
a big,
Yeah.
big shortage. I've always wondered about, you know, the, like the Filipino program. I think it's a wonderful program. And they certainly are helping us with our need for special ed teachers as we go and we bring them in from the Philippines. But I've always felt that they're sort of invisible, you know, and I've always wanted to figure out some way to make them more visible, maybe to recognize them, or make them feel more at home, obviously, because, you know, they're in a foreign country, and you know, that may not necessarily be your purview, right? But I've always thought that if we could figure out a way to make them more visible, I think it would be wonderful, you know, just food for thought.
I think that's an interesting note. I'll say that this district welcomes people very nicely. I'm going to miss you guys. That this is an incredibly family feeling that you have in El Sal, and it's amazing. And I'm not just saying that 'cause I'm sitting in front of you. Everybody in my house knows your names and they all know your stories. So I brag about you guys quite a bit.
My other question was now the induction program we're talking about, that's the one run by the Monterey County Office of
Yes.
Education? Oh, okay, got it. Okay. And we're
Yeah.
obviously part of that. right?
Yeah, when I say we oversee that, I really should say George Lopez oversees that. It's like he does all that work. I'm just
Right.
taking credit for it tonight as I sit here. But yeah, he makes sure that they stay on task and they get through it. And
Yeah.
you know, they're young teachers, so we make sure that they
Yeah,
feel
they certainly
supported.
need the support in the program. It seems to me that they do get a lot of support from the program, which is something they need. Well, thank you then. Thank you again for taking the time to spend some time with us.
Thank
I know
you.
we won't have you forever. I think at some point you're probably looking at, that's what I heard. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
my next gig is up in the foothills, so yeah,
cool.
I'll be here through June.
Very good. Thank you.
So thank you for your time.
Thank you for the presentation. Thank you. Due to our time frame, it is 7:45. We're gonna the presentation C, which is the project and program overview of the proposed district performing arts center, will be for our next board meeting. Okay. And moving on to item 7, board member reports. Mr. Jimenez, do you have anything to report today? Mrs. Garcia, do you have anything to report today?
I do. So I attended the open houses for both Jesse Sanchez and MLK. Since they're so close to each other, I was able to go to both of them. I wasn't able to go to all the classrooms. I do apologize for that, but I saw so many happy faces on the, it was last Thursday, I believe. I know that there was 2 other schools that had open houses on the same day, so there's just no way to go to all of them, right? I think this Thursday, there's a lot more open houses. So I'm going to try to make a few that I haven't shown up to, but I want to congratulate all the teachers. I saw a lot of great student work all over the walls, and I saw a couple of classrooms where the kids were leading the open house, kind of like a scavenger hunt type of thing. And I saw 4th grade, they had all the missions in the 4th grade classrooms. That was nice to see again. And so, yeah, I want to congratulate all the teachers, so those who had open houses this past week and those who will have open houses this week. Also the administrators, because I know they're out running around and making sure everything is running smoothly. And lastly, I want to congratulate all the administrative professionals on their day or week, because I think we're celebrating them. You know, like administrative assistants, secretaries, people in the front office. I think we couldn't run a school without you, so thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Mrs. Garcia. Mr. Ocampo?
No, nothing to report today. I thought I'd give you a rest, but next week I'll report something.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Ocampo. Okay, Mr. Koenig, any report for you? Thank you. We're gonna move on to item 8, consent agenda. I need a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion.
Motion made by Mr. Jimenez,
I'll second.
seconded by Ms. Garcia. Any comments or questions at this point?
I have a comment.
Sure.
I'm talking too much tonight, sorry about that, but yeah, so full disclosure, I've worked with Edmo's staff before as a site admin and also as a teacher in charge. So at another district, not this one, please don't get that wrong, but, so I'm very fully aware. I see that there's an Edmo, contract on here. So, I wanted to, thank whoever put that together. There's a part where it says that the, Edmo staff, the site director, the BP, and, the teacher in charge should collaborate it weekly for about 45 minutes. So I want to thank that because I think it's very important that they come together, right? I think this is the first year we use Edmo. Am I wrong? Okay, this is the first year that we have Edmo in this school district. And so I think it's really important that they have that time to collaborate because it's a crucial year. Year one's there's always some things happening and, so it's really important that they get along. And so, yeah, I'm glad to see that they had that piece added to the contract. And that was my only comment.
Right, I have a motion made by Mr. Jimenez and seconded by Ms. Garcia. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next, we move on to business services. Action item, boundary change, plan for reconfiguration of district boundaries. I need a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion made by Mr. Jimenez,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Ocampo. Comments or questions at this point? It appears not. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0 with Ms. Gilpas being absent. Moving on to item 10, human resources. Action item, revised job description, Director of Assessment and Accountability to Director of Leadership Development and Accountability. I need a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion made by Mr. Ocampo,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Jimenez. Comments or questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0 with Ms. Gilpas being absent. You could look at item 11 for future agenda items. And item 12 are future meeting dates as well. Moving on to item 13, public comments concerning closed session agenda items only. There will be a 2-minute limit for individuals and a 20-minute limit on total public comments. There is no ceding of one's time to other individuals. Individuals wishing to address the Board of Trustees on closed session agenda items may do so at this time. Starting time, 7:51. You can go ahead. Mrs. Miranda?
Thank you. Okay, so I would like to make a comment on the remapping of the district and the schools. So when we had the meetings a couple of weeks ago, some parents raised some concerns about the schools and the boundaries. And in some schools, we were putting children at most risk by the changes than what they are now. So I understand, and it was very well explained to us. Thank you, Mr. Abasi and Ms. Ansel, that it was explained to us, and Ms. Claudia, the reasoning behind it. But he was making really good notes, Mr. Abasi. So if you can review those notes, because I noticed some schools really now children will have to cross bigger avenues or streets than what they do now if we move them. Saying specifically, one of them was the people moving from Chavez or at Chavez. Now they don't have to cross Del Monte or Sunburn to go to Chavez. But now this section of the city will have to come to this school, and they'll be crossing major streets or avenues. So if you didn't get that on your notes, please, I recommend for you to review them, because as a parent, I'm very concerned. And I mean, luckily I don't know for who, but this next year is gonna be my last year in Allison, but not as a community member. But I know my I'm getting this ready for my great-grandchildren. So if that's what I can say, like, so yeah, like, Ms. Garcia, like, she's leaving. No, I'm not. No, I have a lot of family and I'll be here. You guys won't miss me. So, but yeah, I would like to ask for that, please.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was concerned on that, and that's the one I remember like from right now. But I mean, please take a look at that. And thank you again for the meeting. It was very informative. You were very patient. I know we were repeating the meetings, but I mean the questions. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, I end this at 7:54. Now I adjourn to closed session at 7:54. The break will be a 10-minute break. Closed session will begin promptly at 8:04. Thank you. I now reconvene to open session at 9:04. And there are two items to report out today. On a vote of 5-0, the board voted to appoint Celia Garcia as an assistant principal effective immediately. On a vote of 5-0, the board voted to appoint Daisy Arizon as assistant principal effective immediately. And if the board will humor me, I didn't get an opportunity to report for board member reports. I want to announce that I will be stepping down from the board. Reasons, I have a few reasons to step, but the main reason is that I do want to go back to school, complete my master's in administration sometime in August. So I know it's going to take time, and I think since I'm not going to have the necessary time and energy to adequately fulfill my duty as a board member, I feel better to make room for someone with the time, energy, and devotion to our students and staff. So for me, it's been truly a privilege to be part of this board and work with my board, with Mr. Koenig, and all of our staff and community alike. So, I wish our district the best of luck and continued success in our district's endeavors to educate our students and community. Yeah. I now adjourn this meeting at 9:06. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.